It has been a few weeks since I released my last podcast. I needed to take some time away because I did record a podcast that I when I recorded it, it invoked so much debt. I was a victim of robo debt, and when I recorded this podcast, it was like so much anger, sadness, like so many feelings like really came up, and it was just like this release of feeling, and um, and then after recording that podcast, I was kind of like, oh, I feel like exhausted, or like I just need to like step away for a moment. And that's the thing I think that I was not prepared for while doing my degree is like how much I'm learning. And as someone who learns by relating the content, the theory, and the frameworks with real life um, situations, that doing the research then on what is actually taking place in the world, systemic issues, and social injustices, like reading about the current state of the world, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. So I kind of just needed to have like a bit of a break, step away from things, and yeah. But here we are. We're back again, and um, yeah, I'm excited to be back. I really enjoy the process of creating podcasts, just being creative and like sharing, storytelling, um, and also being able to the connections that I make from sharing my stories. Like I have been, you know, pretty active on social media for like over a decade now. And one thing that I've always loved about it is that I have been able to create so many amazing connections with people who have resonated with my content. And yeah, it's a really beautiful thing. So, a bit of an update. I think I am like week 5 now into trimesters. Um, Last year, so my first year of uni was semesters, and then this year is trimesters. So, which is, I was like thinking about this and I was like, oh, yeah, like that's kind of great because like when I usually get to that 10-week mark, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. But then I'd have another 3 weeks to go still after, like when it was in semesters. So 10 weeks feels good. However, 10 weeks is also like jam packed with um, all of the content and the assessments as well. And so it feels very tight and like you need to be on top of things. But I do feel as though I'm on top of things, on top of my assessments, enjoying this year, this trimester subject. So I'm currently doing community work, organizational organizational practice, yes, and children and families, um, which are 3 really interesting, great subjects that I love. So glad I get to start the year off with that. But last year was definitely my hardest. It was the hardest year for sure. It was the hardest thing that I have ever done. But I can, I now notice in the last few weeks that I've been back at uni how much easier things are and how much things flow, like without having to like really think twice about things, like that muscle memory, all of those neurons and stuff have like wired together, and it's just feels very smooth. It doesn't feel clunky like it did last year. So if anyone is in their first year and you're like, this is fucked, I don't know what I'm doing, it feels clunky, it feels bleh, just keep going, because I think once you get over that first year, there's so much that you learn in that first year, especially as a mature age student when you're learning how to learn. Once you get over that first year, then it's like, okay, it gets easier. It does get easier. Um, Something that I'm also incorporating into this year is working with my cycle. I think it's very important, and I'm surprised that people don't speak about it as much within university. I did connect with someone on LinkedIn who was actually doing her honors thesis on this, which I'm actually really looking forward to reading once she finishes. Um, and like last year, I put on like 10 kilos. That freshman 15 is more like freshman 30. Um, but yeah, snacking, diet habits, all of those things. I'm like, that's fine. That's okay. We can make up for it this year, create healthy habits. This sound, there is something I can hear that is not right. And it is driving me crazy. I think it's the fan. I'm like fogging up my glasses as well. Anyway, um, snacking. Is that what I was talking about? I don't know. I've lost track now. But yeah, so we're eating less snacks. I've made it my thing to not eat snacks while studying. If I'm going to eat, I need to like leave and go and eat like a full meal. Um, and if I'm, or I mean, if I'm going to eat a full meal, then I can eat a full meal while studying. But yeah, the snacks, it's the snacks, really. Other than that, outside of uni, I'm in like a weird little like limbo phase of like trying to figure out my life, figure out what I'm doing because I have so many ideas for things that I want to do, but it takes time, and it's like this thing of like, do I keep my time and invest my time into these things that I want to do, or do I get a job so I can get some more money? But what am I going to spend that money on? I actually need to sit down and really think about that because the things that I want to do could potentially, no, I don't, let me take that back. Will potentially, no, let me rephrase this altogether again. The things that I want to do on the side will eventually become another source of income. Just that's it. So I think I just answered that myself. I am going to focus on that, trust, and I know I have been doing this for a while now, just trusting that things are going to work out, and then they do work out. So, I do. I I've answered that question for myself. I will continue on with my projects, knowing that they will work out. So I'm excited for that. Um, because these are like projects that I've been trying to do for a while, but then I just think I haven't had the confidence, and the I just haven't had the knowledge. Um, yeah, it just wasn't the time before, but I feel like now I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to uh, explore these things, and I'm ready to like really work on them and put them out there. So that's what we're doing. So I did some journaling last night, and I feel like it's journaling that I haven't really done in a very, very long time. Like I was feeling all of my things again, and it was really coming together. And I wanted to summarize it and share it on the podcast. And then I was like, I don't know. I don't, I think I'm just going to read it. So I'm just going to read what I had written. So if it doesn't make sense or it sounds, I don't know, a little all over the place, it's a journal. It's my journal entry. So, um, yeah, I will have to put my glasses on for this. I wrote this last night and then I was like really excited because it was like, I finally coming up for air. But yeah, okay, let me kickstart this little journal reading session for you. I'm feeling inspired. I'm feeling. I don't think I've been connected to my feels for some time. Studying, especially social work, hardens you as you learn about the injustices and how the world functions. You need to know your boundaries of what capacity you have for knowledge and understanding. At the same time, I feel a sense of coming home to the Mater I was before my mental breakdown. The woman who's seen so much beauty in people, the woman who loved humans and this experience of life and wished that we could all discover inner peace so that we could live more harmoniously. The knowing that self care and acts of service for self was fundamental in discovering that internal peace. Kindness and compassion for ourselves is vital. The world will tell our story, it will define us and box us into limitations. We have potential for so much more. We are incredible living organisms, yet we are so deeply disconnected, not just from each other, but ourselves. Living to work instead of working to live, not just jobs, but on ourselves. I'm thinking more about what kind of social worker I want to be, what legacy and footprint I want to leave behind. I want people to feel empowered, to have self determination and sovereignty over themselves, to end external conditioning and the socialization process through actively engaging with what fills our cups and with what creates opportunity for self determination and sovereignty. To be able to free themselves from feelings of inadequacy because it isn't them, it's a system that has oppressed and been against us from the start. It's told us, do more, you're not enough. And in time, we've reconditioned our, on our own terms and discovered our worth. I hope we live. I hope we bask in the reaping of our own rewards. I hope that we spend our lives restoring not what is broken, but what has been beaten down, altered, and worn out. A beautiful restoration of a wonderful human. Hold empathy and compassion for those that create injustices and wear out the people for their own personal gain. For how they have never felt wholeness in their own being, never felt what it's like to love self, hold compassion, and be patient. How they have never stopped seeking externally for validation, control, and power, for within the walls of their home, their bodies have no safety, no peace. They are at war with themselves, with their stories. They are blind to truth, to what life really is and how to truly live. How I feel sorry for them. I am deeply grateful for the life I have lived. I am grateful for my experiences that have continuously expanded my human experience. Somewhere along the way, we stopped caring for each other. We left our sense of community in pursuit of selfish gains, beating our heads and hands against walls that will not break, walls that take an army, that take collective efforts. We stand at We stand outside the structures that are built on systems that oppress and segregate. We don't question what is going on internally, like how they or we don't question or try to understand what is going on inside of ourselves. We hate to be different and criticize only anything that is because we don't understand. How can we if we don't understand ourselves? We are complex, neither black or white. We are all shades of grey. So when I journal, I write very quickly sometimes and very messily. So, um, but yeah, that was my journal entry last night. And when I was writing it and reflecting on it, I can now see my two worlds coming together. Um, the two worlds being when I first met Kim, my friend, mentor, who basically told me to go do social work over a beer. I had said to us, like, I feel like I'm missing a language. I was like, I have this knowledge, I have this understanding of things, I have these feelings, and I just don't know how to express it in a certain way. And now I can see through my degree that I am now finding the language to be able to cultivate the story that I am and have been wanting to cultivate for a long time. And it's as though I am able to take these two sides of like you know, prior to my degree, I was a very love and light girly, very much about empowering people, loving people, all of these things. But then I feel like I didn't really have this other side that was strong. And I think it's through this education, um, through my degree, that I have like gained the tools for the other side. So it's as though I kind of have this really nice balance of the feminine and the masculine that is like starting to come through. And um, yeah, it's it's a journey, and I am really looking forward to how this unfolds because it feels nice to feel those soft feelings, like to feel them kind of coming through again and knowing. And I think this probably also comes in with like my cycle, working with my cycle as well, knowing that, you know, I'm not going to be in a constant state of happiness or just in one constant state of emotion or feeling. Like it's going to be fluctuating, and there will be times when, you know, I will be more in like that masculine kind of energy and like that doing, and then more in like this reflective, soft side. So, yeah, I am really looking forward to kind of seeing how this year unfolds. After seeing how our last year unfolded, this year I am really excited to see how it goes. Anyway, I think that's all that I was really wanting to share with you today. Let me know if there's anything that stood out to you or that resonated. Um, Let me know how you're going with your studies, or if you want to share social work experience, if you are a social worker. Um, I love connecting with people and just having conversations and stuff. It will be great. I think eventually I will definitely do this and just kind of have um, have guests, because having conversation and storytelling and stuff. That's, yeah, I love it. I'm here for it. Have a beautiful week. I hope you're well, and I will see you on the next podcast. Hopefully, it won't be as I won't leave it as long.